So it's 2 o'clock in Portugal, 3 o'clock in the Netherlands, and wherever you are joining us from, thank you very much and welcome to this webinar on Efficacy Unleashed. And today you have the entertainment and education and information, hey Wendy, from myself. My name is Mariette Abrahams. I'm the CEO and founder of Kina. And
my name is Chantal Linders, and I'm the CEO and founder of Green Habits in the Netherlands.
So just before we start, we're going to just mention some housekeeping items so we are all on board. We will be recording this session. We have had quite a few registrations for this webinar. Many people also cannot make it live, so they want to listen to the recording afterwards. It's best if you keep yourself on mute and your video off as well, please. Hi, Ross. That just makes it easier in terms of the sharing the slides as well. If you do have any questions, there is a chat button at the bottom of your screen. I hope it's on the same place. So as we are going through the next hour, please feel free to send in your questions. We will check any questions that come in as well. And please don't feel stressed to take plenty of notes or do screen records. We will be sending the slides at the end. You will also have access to the recording right inside the Kina platform to listen to at any time. And both our contact details will also be on the slide at the end of the presentation. So you will have access to that in case you would like to contact us after this webinar. So we will be together for the next hour. Depending on how many questions we get, of course, feel free to stay around if you run over a little bit. But the plan is to get through the next hour. Loads of people are coming in, so you might find that the screen changes a little bit, but we will try and spotlight ourselves just the way the system is set up. It's not Zoom, so we can't just black out everybody, but the people will be coming in and out. But yeah, if you can make sure that you are on mute, then there will be no echo. There will be no disruptions to other people or other attendees as well. So without further ado, then we're going to make a start. Chantal,
yes.
Do you want to kick us off and just give an intro on what we will be covering?
So this is the agenda for today. We're starting with the introduction of ourselves, and then we go to the understanding of the science of behavioral change. Then what is behavioral change? Which models are there? There are too many for today, but we've picked some out for what we have been using. The massive impact of gamification on behavior. And then we have a challenge, which we are going to do together. And at the end, we will show you how the models can be applied into practice. So first, I'm going to give...
I think Chantal's frozen a bit. Chantal, I can't hear you. The audience, can you hear Chantal? Rocher?
No, I can't hear her either.
Okay, so I'll make a...
No.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. So I'll kick off once she comes back. So I'm Mariette Abrahams. I'm the CEO and founder of Kina. I'm based in Portugal, and we're a nutrition consultancy and platform that focuses on the area of personalized nutrition. We provide consultancy services in terms of strategic advice, but also research. And then also we have a platform that tracks the personalized nutrition industry, looking at the competitive landscape and also the evolution of the market so far already over the last few years. So we have the first kind of comprehensive database, a curated database of the competitive landscape, looking at all the players in the personalized nutrition, focusing on personalized nutrition. So I will carry on because I don't see Chantal. I think she may have lost her connection. But the first thing that we wanted to discuss is around this behavioral design or behavioral thinking and behavioral science, because recently we published a white paper which really covered this topic because we see this as an important area of growth. We see this as an important area of, in terms of a challenge for companies in the industry. And this is especially because we've had over the last decade, I would say, a rapid growth in the number of personalized nutrition solutions that we've had on the market. But one of the key areas that always comes back is how do we address behavior change? How do we action behavior change? And how do we make that behavior change sustainable in the long term? Which has really meant that behavioral science has come into its own and has become a crucial component of personalized nutrition solutions, essentially. So this means that we need to look at not only the science, we need to look at what kind of theories are solutions based on, how does that translate into behavior change techniques, but then also how can these behavior change techniques be made practical using digital features. So what does the end user actually have to do to then make sure that they do it consistently to be able to reach their health goals and have nutritional or health or behavioral outcomes? And that's essentially what we covered in this report that we wrote. If you haven't read it yet, it is in the same folder as the free resources in the library once you log into the Kina platform. So what we're looking at essentially is what are the different behavioral change theories, what is the science, and what is the efficacy and evidence we have currently in terms of seeing what kind of behavior change actually lead to those to those nutritional and behavioral outcomes. There have already been a number of key studies that have been published in the scientific literature, starting off, and I've given a few examples in the report, looking at the Food for Me, for example, looking at the NOW trial, and also looking more recent studies that are using biofeedback, for example, to look at behavior change and how the nutritional science can then be incorporated together with behavior change theory to lead to those nutritional outcomes. Now, what we were looking at is how can we use behavioral design thinking to help companies to start thinking about what is the theory and what you should be looking at, but also having a real deep understanding of your customer base or your consumer base to then design effectively using a whole design thinking approach and really going from beginning to the end where you actually have an outcome as well. So this involves a number of steps, looking at first doing maybe consumer interviews, understanding what are the facilitators and the barriers, understanding what theory can potentially explain the behavior, or how can behavioral theory be used to then design the behavioral outcomes that you want to see, or the identified behavior that you want to see, and then moving on to which techniques can be used and which digital features you should be selecting based on the scientific evidence, because once it's standardized or standardized terminology is used, then you actually have the data that then can be used in the research arena that then can look at the nutritional outcomes. So that is really the reason why we first published the report. After that, had a quick discussion with Chantal online, who has got the solution, and I hope she joins so she can explain exactly more about what they do at Green Habit. But they've really developed a solution that incorporates behavioral change theory and then incorporating the behavior change techniques, and then have actually also validated their approach. So just in time, Chantal, it's your turn. Over to you.
I'm sorry, this is a test of my resilience, I think. My internet dropped down, so my computer...
Don't worry.
So I'm going to share my screen again. I'm sorry for the delay. What did you told?
So I was just talking about the paper that we published earlier, and a little bit about Kina. And so we're waiting for you to introduce Green Habit and kind of just a little quick background in terms of what Green Habit does before we go into the theory and the science of behavior change.
Okay. Then I stop with sharing this. Okay. So the Green Habit, before I tell you more about the behavioral change technologies, the Green Habit is founded in 2017. I started this company, my background is data analyst, so I worked for more than 20 years in the software industry. And then my own health was the main reason that I started this company, because I took for more than 20 years antibiotic for bladder infection every 6 weeks. And then I came to another sort of doctor, and this man told me, okay, I've seen what the causes of your bladder infection, and if you change your nutrition, you can solve your own problem. And then I thought, well, if this man is really right, then he has a very bad business model. But I tried to follow his advice, and I solved my own problem. So I immersed myself into to health, nutrition, and everything. And I had a big drive to help thousands of people. But I first did a research in 2017 to understand why people give up so easily in good intentions. And it was a very simple question. And it was also a very simple answer, because they told me that if they are in circumstances that influence their state of mind, they eat everything what's around them. They eat like monsters. They drink more alcohol, they smoke more, and they don't exercise. But all the solutions, there were 360,000 at that moment, 2017, were all focused on the physical health, like exercise, nutrition, or relaxation. And it's not that it's not important, but you have to go deeper to the root cause of unhealthy behavior. And that's the starting point of Green Habits. So actually, it's an education to learn people to build mental and emotional resilience. And I tell you more about it later.
Right. So I think we kick off with if you can explain what behavioral science is. Both of us come from different background, different angles. So my background is more in the nutrition health side, but now also started teaching on behavioral design thinking. And you have the other angle, which comes from actually designing a solution. So you also teach behavioral science at university. So yeah, if you can elaborate on what it is, and yeah.
I will explain with some slides that I have made to explain more about the behavioral change and the technology that you can use for interventions, to give you some ideas, and hopefully you go, you close this webinar with all kinds of new ideas. I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, you can see it.
So Green Habit is an evidence-based gamified treatment to improve quality of life. And as I told you already before, my research in 2017 was based on, okay, why do we give up so easily? Well, there are many reasons, like loneliness or stress, that causes unhealthy behavior. But if you look at a person, in addition to underlying psychological causes, there are many more factors and reasons that influence our behavior. So we don't believe in a one-size-fits-all solution, because every individual is different, and personalization isn't important because users are often individual different from each other, and every individual needs different types of help. So this is where Green Habit comes in, because we personalize an individual journey to help them on the right time, on the right moment, with the goals that they want to work on. But what is behavioral change? The definition of behavioral change refers to the process of modifying an individual's actions, attitudes, and habits to improve their performance, productivity, but also overall well-being. And various factors can drive this change, such as feedback, repetition, personal development goals, social support, rewards. That's where you also talked about before, Mariette. And an important part of realizing behavioral change is setting goals and planning specific actions towards them in an action plan. And this process gives people focus and motivation. Well, before we started Green Habits, when we developed the method Green Habits, I immersed myself in behavioral change, but also in brain learning, because brain learning is very powerful to use in an intervention. Despite the enormous complexity of the brain, it appears to be surprisingly easy to translate a number of brain principles directly into design and execution of learning process. Well, these six brain learning techniques are incredibly powerful in stimulating learning, because people learn better if they learn together instead of alone. If you use senses during the learning process, it's more powerful. But people also like to be challenged. If you are 80 or a child, it doesn't matter. We like to be challenged. And we also like to be rewarded. Nudging is very important. Means positive nudging in the right direction without knowing that you are being nudged. And also out of your comfort zone. If you do what you think you need, you always choose something in your comfort zone. But if you do something out of your comfort zone, then you have a new experience, and it gives you the strength to choose it again or to do something else. And the behavioral change wheel, this is one of the models. There are thousands of models if you Google it, Google behavioral change models. But the behavioral change wheel is a great place to start a journey, because it distills impactful behavioral strategies from 19 existing models into a single framework, which you can see here. The behavioral change wheel is a framework for describing, designing, and evaluating behavioral change strategies. And there are 3 conditions, the most important conditions to start with behavioral change, and you all need them. It's capability, motivation, and opportunity. So capability, are they able to do it? Opportunity, does the environmental allow them to do it? And motivation, what is your goal? Do they want to do it? Because if they don't want to do it, you don't have to, you can better not start to do the intervention. So in the middle circle on the wheel in red captures types of intervention that can support the required behavioral change, and the outer wheel represents the policy classification that such interventions might fall under. In our intervention, we've used, in the red circle, 7 of the 9 interventions, such as persuasion, training, social environment, and incentivization. How do you call it?
Incentivation, yeah.
Yes.
Got it.
So it looks like this. We've used nudging, we've used week goals, a travel log, micro-learning, a buddy system, measuring, gamification, challenges, rewards, personal growth, and social community. And we also have used the iceberg model of McClelland. I think you all know or recognize this image. The iceberg model of personality is a model that suggests that there are parts of our personality that we are aware of, that's the top of the iceberg, and parts that we are not aware of, so underwater. And the parts of our personality that we are not aware of may have a bigger impact on our behavior than the parts that we can see, what you can see if you look to a person. And then the minimum of time to learn, that you need to learn a new habit, is 66 days. And if you look at health interventions, most of the people sometimes 80% is already gone after 2 days or 3 or 4 days. So you never reach the moment that it's been really a habit. So it takes at least 66 days to build new habits if you do it every day. So green habit is a little bit longer if you skip a day or whatever. And so we help individuals to reflect on their own health, on physical, mental, and social in the social area. And there are many aspects to make it fun. So you have to do a lot of things to make it fun enough to keep on going with these good habits. So that's why gamification is a very strong and powerful tool to use to increase the engagement, but also community and a buddy system, etc.
Can I ask quickly, Chantal, for the green habit, why did you specifically choose the COM-B model? We see that more so, coming up in digital solutions or interventions. Is there a particular reason why you focused on that one in combination with the other one that you just mentioned, or did you just decide, okay, this one, encompasses quite a range?
You mean the behavioral change wheel, eh?
Yes.
Yeah. For me, it was a very structured one, and it's really focused on how you can implement it in digital interventions. So behavioral change is very big, but if you want to build a digital intervention, it is a very easy framework to implement it in your technology. But the most people think, okay, I'm going to build an app or I'm going to build a game, and that's the solution of that's my product.
Yes. Yeah.
But what I did is I spent more than 2 years of simulating the method of green habit before we built the game, because you can simulate your intervention, you can build it yourself. I have an example today, because I had a big problem came on my journey 2 years ago, and they asked me, Chantal, can you find a solution for this problem that we have in the Netherlands? And this is the problem that we had in the Netherlands. According to a study in 2018, the Netherlands was by far the worst vegetable eating country of whole Europe. You can't believe it, but it's really true. The Dutch ate on average 58 kilos of vegetables per year, and that's only 160 grams per day. So they asked me, Chantal, can you help us to think about a solution that we eat more vegetables, but also more colors? Because we only eat, here you can see 3 colors, but most of the people only eat 2 colors. So they don't want to have struggles with their children at home, so they eat every day broccoli or carrots or always the same things. But it's much better if you eat more colors of vegetables. So what if we want to change this behavior, specific this behavior? So more vegetable awareness and intake and more variety in vegetable colors. So I want to ask the audience today, how can we do that? Do you have any idea of how we can change this behavior? How can we help them to eat purple vegetables, for example, or yellow? Please use the chat and give me all your ideas that you have. I'm going a little bit out of here and then come back.
While they are writing, I'm just thinking, so what happens to all the other colored vegetables? Like, what happens to them in the shop? Do they just go to waste? Like, what happens?
They don't sell it.
They only eat carrots and broccoli.
Yeah. I stopped sharing, and you can see me now, right?
Yeah, I can see. Okay, so we've got provide. Sorry, I just saw that. So we've got provide them for free, show them how to cook and serve them. That's Roz. Zoe says use a wide range of techniques to use in a trial and error approach. Kim says make characteristics of vegetables, make it fun for children. R says we need to create the Eat Well plate. We need to recreate the Eat Well plate. Totally agree with that one. Linda says incentives. Rocher says give them points when buying other color vegetables that will change into vouchers. Nikki says vegetable tables at home, providing a range of suggestions they can tick off each week. Or yeah, I think it says each
Nice
week.
ideas.
Yeah. Use well-liked role models to promote.
Mm.
Woo, we've got loads of ideas. Gamification approach, take pictures, get bonus points, more exposure.
Us
You need to
children
see them everywhere. That's
Yeah.
true. Sell them. Many supermarkets have a lousy assortment. Yeah, that is exactly the question. Wendy's like, are they just not there? Or are they there and they just go to waste? So do you want to, taste sample size at stores? Yeah, design apps, ask children to pick a few. Educate the kids.
It's really nice to see that a lot of people say, okay, ask children, ask how they want to change it, because they are the main reason why mothers or fathers are cooking those broccoli every day, because they don't want to struggle. If they're happy with dinner there, it's okay.
So tell us.
Okay. It was 2020 and 2021, and my daughter, my youngest from 12, she had corona and she was sitting here at home and she was so bored. And I said to her, okay, can you help me for this problem? Can you find something to help children to eat more colors? And then she has drawn a sort of circle, a wheel, and she called it all kind of vegetables in all kind of colors. And then we made we designed a bigger one of that. I'm gonna share my screen. Let me see.
It's coming. Yeah.
Yes, huh? Okay.
Yeah, you can see it.
Let me see. Okay. So this is what she has drawn, first by hand, and then we have made it like this. And it's a sort of a veggie variation wheel where you can see 5 colors, the white, the red, you can see it. And then we made a very big one where you can turn on. We've used it on let me see, I have to share my screen better. Just give me a second. Like this. And then this, so yeah. So then we made a very big one, and we've put it on at the Floriade in the Netherlands for a year. And children really like this. And they can choose in a color group, they can still have a choice. And okay, I can choose from all the red vegetables or all the purple vegetables. But we also made a craft plate variant so that every child can make their own variation wheel by reusing packing material. So you can bring it at home and you can make it at home. It's really nice. And this is also being used on schools. And this way they learn to vary more and still have a choice within the selected color. So here you can see an example of how it works for a child. And my daughter used a spinner to otherwise it didn't turn. It was really nice. And so children are also involved in the cooking process. Okay, what are we going to eat? And shall I help cooking? Can I help with the choice? So it's really nice. And then after a year, we also built this in our application. You can see it here, and it also makes a noise like a real wheel if you turn it. And then it comes on a color. For example, in this example, you see on red. And then he gives you 3 recipes in the red color. And then you can also choose in these 3 recipes. And if you have made one of these recipes, you have given your feedback. And the next time that you using the veggie variation wheel, the red color is gone. So you really are forced to choose a white color or yellow color or purple color. And here you can see the veggie score. So the challenge is eat 3 colors this week And this challenge helps you to pick a recipe in this color range. And it's really nice how easy it is to help people, to nudge people to eat more colors. So we made a connection, an API connection with a recipe database. And you can win veggie scores every week by eating a varied diet. And here you can see you can collect all your recipes in the app. And you have also veggie score 1, 2, or 3. And that's really nice. About gamification, I will explain you more later. But it is about how do we get people to do the right thing, right? That's the most difficult part of it. So the most important thing about behavioral is what we do experience after we have, after we come into an application or an app or a game or whatever. How do we feel after the behavior? So if you come into an app and you don't find immediately what you want or what you're looking for in a few seconds, then you won't come back anymore. So the feeling that you get after you come in or you search for something, you need this good feeling immediately, and then you repeat it and then you come back. So we are very sensitive to the consequences that follow our behavior. If we experience something pleasant, we are inclined to repeat it, and we prefer to avoid something that we experience as annoying. And when we think about behavioral change, it's important to find out what someone experiences, because this says something about the change that the behavior will occur again next time. So getting up from bed because I want to be on bed on time. Arriving on time feels good, so that gives a good feeling. Or drink a glass of water so I don't feel thirsty anymore. Not being thirsty is nice. So that's how you have to think about implementing the right content on the right moment. Well, the massive impact of gamification. When you hear about gamification, you maybe think it's a fantastic business tool, one that could get people do whatever you want. But gamification, which are game-like processes used to encourage human engagement with a product or service, if businesses, there has been a research about how businesses could manipulate people using gamification. And what's the difference between persuasion and manipulation? It's really an interesting point. And is it ethical? Well, gamification wants to engage you directly. Advertisement and marketing are typically more passive. Gamification is 70%, 75% psychology and 25% technology. Although gamification is covered, it's most recognizable in external marketing, such as in apps or websites and contests. And if you won gold status on Uber, for example, or become a premier 1K member of United Airlines, then you have done business in a gamified environment. But most of the time you don't even know that it's in there. But to make it a little bit easier for you to understand, I took one of the games that our game developer, Grendel Games, has developed. So Green Habit has a game, but it's developed by Grendel Games. That's a game developer who is specialized in behavioral change. And the Krypton Rider game was developed for rehabilitation. We all know rehabilitation. For example, after an accident. And people often have all kinds of reasons for not doing the rehabilitation. No desire, no incentive, too painful or too tired or whatever. But with this game, you secretly practice the actions, but you don't even notice it. So is this ethical or is it not? Well, you don't do it on your own, but you do achieve the goal for which you came for the therapist. So yeah, this is a good example of how you can help people with gamification to do what you want them to do in an ethical way. I think you all know what is ethical and what is not ethical. They also made a water battle game to learn people to not use use, how do you say this, for less water using, because in the Netherlands, yeah. So
Water
it's,
saving.
yeah, it's a really nice game to learn you to use less water, but you can combine this and working together with all kinds of partners who deliver water or bottles or whatever. So you can nudge them in a commercial way if you like, but you can also keep it just into the goal of the game. So what we have done is how we translate it into our solution. It's a sort of advent calendar with 84 treasure chests. And this contains messages, assignments, measurements for which you can score points. But you always have a choice, so you don't have to do it. But if you do it, you receive points. And you have a bronze, silver, gold level. So this ultimately results in a real reward from a green habit in the box. Here you can see the box. There are rewards in the box that you can unpack if you have reached that level. Well, this is a little bit about the background of green habits, of the application where the multidisciplinary program is managed. And we're using the algorithm. The algorithm uses actually the behavioral data, the goals that an individual is setting, the reflection data, and the answers of the quality of life questions. So at the beginning and then every 28 days. And that allows us to offer the personalized content and challenges. And the results are amazing. As Mariette already told you in one of the posts, we have a retention of 85%, which is very high, who finished the 12-week education. And the most important thing is that we are using the gamification, but also the buddy system. So Green Habit, you do always Green Habit with a buddy that you choose yourself. And there are also other peers or people in the community. And the community, the social engagement is really important in improving quality of life. It's not only about lifestyle, it's about learning how to let go and how to focus on your own drives and to live the life that you want. So that was my part of the story. I have to go back to the slides of you.
Yeah, that would be great. So thanks for sharing that, Chantal, and also more in detail about how Green Habit not only was formed or the basis or the amount of thought and science that went into designing it. What I would like to do is go a little bit back and think about, okay, we went from the behavioral change kind of theory, looking at COMBI and what that entails, and how that then translates into behavior change techniques, because of course there are around 93 different behavior change techniques, all bucketed up. What we focused on now is looking at gamification with Green Habit as an example of how that is then moved from the theory to the actual practice and what you have integrated. So it's great to see kind of the goal setting and the incentives and the social support components that are incorporated in there. So I think it would be interesting to look at kind of that is your solution. What is the kind of market evolution, or what is currently in the market, and how are companies at the moment incorporating behavior change techniques? So if you just put up my one slide about the first one's about which behavior change techniques are the most common ones that are at the moment included in personalized nutrition solutions that we see most commonly. It is it's quite interesting because it seems to be the same ones. So that's, that slide just below that one. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. This one.
There you go. Yeah. So you can see that goals and planning, feedback and monitoring, and social support tend to be the top three ones that are incorporated over and over and over again. But as you can see from Green Habit, there's really more opportunity to include gamification because people have different preferences not only for engagement, but how they want to connect with other people as well, how they want to log their intake, and like Chantal said, it needs to be fun. Otherwise, people are just not going to engage, and you're not going to get 85%, retention at 80 days. You said it was
84 days,
so, yeah, 80. So this is really, really important that you think wider. Otherwise, we'll have a whole industry full of solutions that are just me too. That in essence will have poor retention simply because the exact same behavior change techniques are incorporated in every single solution. And of course, the quality or how they are incorporated is very important as well, because we see loads of solutions who actually incorporate goal setting and planning, but there's no way of tracking what actually happens to that goal. It gets lost in translation, and then people drop off. The same thing with feedback and monitoring. Loads of research out of Wageningen has come out to show that people do not want feedback in the same way, at the same intensity. They don't always want it, every single day, or maybe via a chatbot, or maybe they prefer, via an email message, for example. So it's very important to identify what is the preference of your specific customer or consumer target group, and then thinking about what are the ideal behavior change techniques that then can be incorporated to engage those individuals. If we go to the next slide.
And I also heard something in the chat about role models. That's something I didn't talk about, but we also using role models, because it is a very, very easy way to give a good feeling to your target group. Because if you only send messages and challenges, it's very boring. But if you tell stories about someone who's is having the same situation as you, for example, we have a diabetes program or a cardiac program, and if you understand what the story of someone else, people most of the people are doing the same things as this person from the story in our game. So it's really nice to see how it works.
Yeah. And I quickly saw one question about what is natural consequences. So that is if you say, if you don't eat your 5 pieces of fruit and veg a day, you will have, high triglycerides or, a higher cholesterol level, or in any sense. So it is a natural connection to an evidence-based consequence, essentially.
Yeah.
Now, if we go to the next one, it's around looking at, so if we say goal setting and planning and maybe action planning, what does that actually mean? What does a solution actually need to have? So if we look at the literature, things like goals and action planning and kind of interventions that are most successful are things like food diaries, like activity tracking, for example. Here, we looked at the solutions in the marketplace, and then we look individually kind of in the solutions, what do companies actually integrate? And you can see that meal plans are actually, meal plans one of the top ones, coaching also, and this coaching can be done via a nutrition expert, for example, sometimes it's automated, and then also kind of nutrition expert where you actually have the interaction with the dietitian as well. Tracking comes in quite high, but if you look at things like chatbots or even voice recognition, which is becoming more popular and more natural now that we have natural language processing, we can see that the Gen Zs who are, digitally native, they are starting to veer towards, having this, how can voice be integrated as well? So it gives a good overview of where is the bulk of the behavior change techniques, and how does that then translate into actual digital features in the solution as well. And again, you can see that actually it's relatively the same again as well.
Yeah, but we do, for example, we make it very small. So you have a very big main goal, like I want to lose 20 kilos of weight. And then we help them to make it small. So every Monday you can choose only 3 week goals. And we give an example, personalized. And you cannot choose 4 or 5, you only can choose 3. But we know that these goals are so small that you always reach 1 or 2. And most of the time you reach 3. And then it gives dopamine in your brain. So you collect all the successes. So that's a sort of strategy that we use. But if you do a sort of app without a structure in there,
Yeah.
you stop after a few days. In the beginning, it's nice. You get recipes. You can do everything on nutrition, for example. But if you collect all your successes and all your pictures, you make a sort of photo book of all your successes, that gives a feeling of maintaining what you're doing. Okay, last week I managed to drink no alcohol during the week. So I can do it the second week. And if I manage to do it 2 weeks, I say to myself, oh, that was easy. I didn't know I could do that. I do it for another week. So then it becomes a sort of mini habit. So if you make it small, they walk to Paris, for example, and you can walk to Paris in 6 or 7 weeks. But they don't believe they can. But after doing Green Habit, they think, whoa, I didn't know that I could walk 70,000 steps a week. So it's easier than you think, but you have to nudge them and help them with very small steps and collect all the successes, because then you make it a big success. And that gives you, every time you come back in Green Habit, you see all your collections of all your achievements. And that you don't want to stop because you want to make more, because you can see your body. You don't want to give up on your body because you promised to do it 12 weeks. So that's all kind of psychology strategies to get them back into the program. Yeah.
So from your experiences, having the kind of the theoretical background and then translating that, but having those kind of KPIs clearly set as well is very important for them to see, because that's where we see people fall down, is because actually there's no visualization, or everybody sends meal plans, everybody sends recipes, but actually nobody's going to cook a new recipe every day. And so I think that's important.
It's about your growth, your personal growth. You have to feel that you're making steps towards your goal. And you don't, everyone knows that you won't lose weight for 20 kilos in 12 weeks. That's absurd. But we explain how it works in your brain to do it in such small steps, so you reach a sustainable, healthy weight instead of losing 10 kilos in 2 weeks. It's about collecting the successes for your personal growth, how you get more self-esteem, how you become more proactive, and how to understand of how it works in your mindset, to look at situations in a different way, to protect your emotions, and to recognize your energy givers instead of your energy, how do you say that?
Trainers.
Yeah. So it's a sort of personal growth journey where you get a self-reflection every time without any doctor who's saying you have to stop smoking, or your BMI is so high, you have to stop eating like this, or it's just, no one says anyone, it's just a reflection of your own journey. Yeah.
So I'm very conscious of time, and we also have some questions coming into the chat. So if you can stop sharing the screen. Chantal, you can stop sharing. Yeah. So what I wanted just to cover is maybe give the audience a kind of practical on how to get started. Let's talk about that, because many companies come and say, I want to develop a solution. It has to be AI, and it has to be tomorrow, and I'm just going to sell it, and everybody's going to lose weight and be happy, and I'm going to make a dent in the health system. And everybody is very optimistic, but we know that is not the reality. So looking at your experience, like, what should companies do first after this webinar?
First, test if your idea is really the solution that whole the world is waiting for. So even though your family likes it a lot, step out of your own comfort zone and test and understand your target group, and go as deep as you can and invest a lot of time in that process before you even start to invest in your company. We are a bootstrap company, and in the beginning I thought, okay, I have a brilliant idea, I'm going to pitch, and I need 300,000 euros for my first MVP. And I pitched over and over and over and over and over and over again. And all the time I got no. And then I thought, okay,
Nobody got it.
stop with this because I have to find another way. So you become very creative if it doesn't go so easy in the beginning. But I'm very thankful afterwards, because the reason why it is so successful, the journey in Green Habit, is because every time I did a journey with a group of patients, or diabetes group, or a lower CES group, I went back to the target group and I asked them, on which moment did you have a bad feeling, or on which moment was a moment that you wanted to stop, and why was it? So to understand why they do what they do, or why they don't come back.
Can you explain what is the feeling? Like, what did they say? What is the feeling? I feel stressed. I feel anxious. What did you ask them specifically?
Well, I give them all the space to say anything to me, whatever they want.
Okay.
Because they have to feel free to say anything to me.
Yeah.
So I really asked them, okay, this is a challenge or a message, and on what word do you feel resistant? Because it can be one simple word. Because, for example, cycle this week two times 5 kilometers, and then someone say, okay, I don't even have a bike. I can't bike. I can't cycle, for example. Or very simple little things. It's the tune of voice that you use. But you have to be thankful for all the feedback that people are there to say to you.
Yeah.
But don't think you have the brilliant solution, because we have a solution for a very big target group from 20 to 80 years. So you can't make it easy of nice for everyone. We made a choice to close the treasure chest after 48 hours because we don't want to give people stress. But there are some people who say, yeah, I really hate that because it looks unfinished. I like to have it structured. So that was the moment that I quit, because I thought, oh, I didn't do anything for today. So, well, it's lost.
Yeah.
So it's good to understand all those little things before you go to make it very big.
And what is that? Do you have any specific advice? Like, that means interviews, it means focus groups, it means tracking online to see where they drop off, or
really
what does that mean?
Co-creation. Sometimes just sit on your hands and just watch how they navigate in an application, because sometimes you think, oh, that's very easy, and then if you have 10 people, they don't see some things that you think, oh, don't you see it? It's so easy. Sit on your hands and look how they navigate in your solution, and do it in co-creation with your target group. And every intervention, you can simulate it. So be very creative, but it's really true that every intervention you can simulate.
Yeah.
It's only to make it scalable. And AI makes it smarter, because you don't need all the brains of a lot of people to make it personalized, in my case. But before you're using AI is not a solution. AI is a tool to make it more specific and personalized, for example.
Yeah.
But it's
So you get the deep insights of your target group, and then you go to the drawing board. You go to your big whiteboard and you do what?
Drawing. I only draw.
Right.
So all my ideas, I write it down, and I test it again with my target group. And I reward them for it all the time, and I let them test all the time. And
so it's an iterative process all
the
the time.
testing process gives you new ideas, because the buddy system and the community is because of the first 1.5 year before I had a game, because I saw what happened in the group and the sharing and the doing it together, and I thought, oh, I'm going to make a buddy system. So they gave me this idea.
So there's a question here from Jim that says, what if your target group is bigger than, for example, a disease group?
If it's bigger than the disease group.
If it's bigger than a disease group.
Well, we have different programs for prevention. So if you don't have any disease, and for some of chronic diseases, but the algorithm goes automatically into content and challenges that fits to an individual. So it doesn't matter if it's someone with cancer or someone with another disease.
Great. Jim says, cool. Okay, so then you have your whiteboard, and as I understand, you can already then separate out kind of the disease group from the prevention group, or those that want to form habits. And then how do you then, how does the algorithm then, decide? So you then decide which digital features are incorporated. So at what point, how do you decide which digital features come in at what point?
Well, we're now going to just-in-time nudging, because we offer them every day a treasure chest, and then you get 5 or 6 things for that day. But sometimes you need to give just-in-time a challenge.
Yes.
So we integrated now Green Habit with a monitoring platform from a hospital, and we use the monitoring data together with our behavioral data. We can nudge in time, just in time. So it's really nice. But the algorithm looks to what a person needs. And before we did that, we tested the algorithm. Okay, we have a big database with all little databases about all kinds of subjects and focus areas. So what would a professional give for advice for this individual? So we had 3 or 4 professionals and the algorithm. Yeah. And that we've done for several months to see, okay, which algorithm comes the closest to the advice of a professional. And then, after a few months of testing, you made a choice, okay, this is the best algorithm. And then, it learns more and more and more and more, because the data is growing,
Fascinating. Okay. And then you move on, because then the algorithm works. The algorithm gathers the data, and then how do you make sure that then that algorithm, keeps on getting updated with new information, new science? Like, how do you measure the success then of that?
Now, after 12 weeks, we have a Green Habit for Life program. So if you finish, you can go to the For Life. It's 365 days a year. And for that, we have made a 2 years database of content, all in all kind of different areas on different levels, etc. So all the content that we develop is scientifically proven and is developed together with professionals. And we yearly updated all the content also that we have already in the system.
Yeah, great. So that kind of takes you to the end. And then if you think about like how you've incorporated it and the experience that you've had, who should gamification not match? Like, who does it not work for? Like, if everybody leaves the webinar and says, right now I'm going to do a gamification, is that the advice that you would give? Or would you say, actually, you need to think carefully about who this would apply to?
Gamification is really interesting, because I discovered that there is a group of people who are doing the journey, and they say after a few weeks, I know everything what's in there, everything.
Yeah.
I don't learn anything. I know already everything. But this group is having a problem positivity. So they find it very difficult to get a positive mindset. And what they do is they're saying something about the journey or about the avatar or about the form, and not about what's in there.
Yeah.
And they all do the same. And then you recognize, okay, they are having a problem in positivity, how to be positive.
Yeah.
But that's also an interesting part, because children can explain it perfectly, how to be positive. Because when you are young, you know how to do it, because they all do sports and everything. So you know how to do it. But if you become older, some people find it so difficult to be positive.
Yeah.
They are saying all kind of things about gamification. Oh, that's not for elderly people. But there's a very big group elderly people who really like the gamification. Our oldest customer is 81 and she really liked it. So
Yeah.
don't say anything about who is liking it and who's not liking it. And the
Yeah.
ones who are not liking it, they have other issues, deeper
Yeah.
issues.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So we are on the hour, Chantal. Can you believe that? So thank you so much for sharing kind of your experience and your insight and your knowledge. I think from my point of view, I think the important takeaway here is not only thinking about how you design with the behavioral theory from the start and how you pull that through, but also how you test it and how you iterate on that. From my point, I think it's really, really important to work with the experts because, of course, they have a great input. Like mine might be nutritional science, but you can see from the breadth of experience you have to pull from to actually deliver something like a green habit is actually phenomenal. So do pull on experts. Do make sure that you take enough time to get to know your target group as much and as deeply as possible. Possibly thinking about a behavioral design thinking approach, as we also do at Kina. And so we hope that it's given you some nuggets of ideas and thoughts and planted some seeds for you to go away to your teams and your groups and think about how you can design your solution, whether it's an app, a platform, a product, a solution, with behavioral science in mind and how technology can be leveraged to enable that behavior change. So thank you so much for attending today. We will stick around a little bit longer if some of you have some more questions, but you will get the slides at the end of this as well. Feel free to reach out if you have a question, a burning question that you didn't get to ask. We have very good staying power for this webinar. So I'm sure lots of people actually do have more questions. And if you feel like we should run another webinar, also covering other solutions or other behavior change theories, then please do let us know. But thank you so much for attending, and we look forward to seeing you on the other side or next time. And Chantal, thank you so much again for sharing everything. Thanks. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so we want thank you. Great. Yeah. So we
So
there weren't too many questions. Okay. Yeah. Jim says he does have more questions, but he had to go. Okay.
Can you look in the camera and make a picture?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the questions to see if anybody had a specific question I need to. There was one question of, do you have any data of ready-to-eat products available in market to using in this? Do you have any data of ready-to-eat products?
What do they mean, ready-to-eat products?
Oh, maybe it means in your solution. Is Dr. Vaya still on? Yes.
Hi,
You can
Chantal.
yes, you can
Yes,
unmute
yes.
yourself. Yes. Hi.
Right, right. It's a wonderful webinar. Thank you so much for enlightening us. So, I'm a practicing doctor from India now, and we are inculcating few vegan products and plant-based products. So,
Yeah.
my question to Chantal was, are you integrating few uh, ready-to-eat products which are on the shelf in your game? So it will be easier for the consumers to get a clarity of what food they should eat or something like that. Have you thought of it?
If I understand you correctly, your question is about if our platform can also be used to nudge people to eat, for example, more plant-based, or to eat in a specific way, if our behavioral change technology is useful for that, or am I wrong?
Or they can see those products on the shelf
Inside
in
them.
the
Yeah.
market, and they'll relate to it for
Yeah.
consumption for their daily usage and all.
So the question is, have you integrated actual retail products in the Green Habit app? ready to eat solutions. So that if they are setting goals, are you recommending or can they set goals for ready to eat products as well as part of the app?
Yeah, we give examples about products to eat, but we're not, it's not commercialized like buy this here or buy this there, whatever. But you can use it in a commercial way, but we can decide whatever we want to put as an advice in there. So we can nudge them to eat this and this and this every day. Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? I will keep on checking here. How does one group people into how often they want to be contacted?
Well, we
So-
can easily, there is a coach platform connected to Green Habit. So we add coaches to a group and they can let the coach know whatever they like or not like. So, and there are many contact moments, digital or physical, to give the space to give feedback. Okay, not so much, or give me more.
Yeah. And I've also seen like it's good to ask people on like onboarding perhaps and just say, hey, what kind of a person are you? Do you want to have like constant contact, or do you just want to hear me like once a week, or how often would you like to hear from me? And a lot of and I think we had some lessons from previous, personalized nutrition companies who actually closed down, where the people didn't want to hear from the, from the dietitian like every 8 weeks. It was too fast because they didn't have that 66 days, to really adopt those new behaviors. So it was too quick for them. So I think gauging where your consumer, your customer is at is very important. And it may change as well, isn't it? Because maybe in the beginning you need a lot of support, but after, a few weeks you don't need it. Is that what you
And
find
if
as well?
you feel any resistance during this journey, it is a moment that there is a risk that someone is quitting their journey. So if you don't offer them the right content in the right way, they think, what a stupid program.
Yeah.
That's nothing for me. And you see high educated people, they don't need a coach every day. They can do it themselves. They are smart enough. They can read it themselves. So it's a different type than a lower educated. It's not that they're not nice enough, but they like the social and the community and the coach and the attention, and they have a lot of problems, and they talk about all the problems. But the high educated people, they don't talk about all the underlying problems, and they're having a very stressful life. And they say, okay, I can manage it myself. I can do it myself. I don't need any support.
Yes. No, very
Really
good.
interesting for the future to make all kinds of types that you can do a sort of mini journey. Okay, what type are you? Okay, this is your type. This fits. This fits for you.
Yeah. And I think that's very important also, going back to how you simulate, the actual journey. So if you have kind of identified this, like, actually this group does not want to be engaging too much, and this, once you understand that, you can then test it, experimentally, or go back all the time. And I think that's where it's so important to get that, information and data up front.
But it's very difficult in the beginning. I remember that in the first beginning of our startup, and I got feedback.
Yeah.
It felt so painful because I thought, oh, this is my baby, and this really hurts. If I want to do it nice for everyone, and
yes,
it didn't feel very good. And then I learned that these are to be thankful for all the feedback that they give, because it's not about me, it's about making it better for all those individuals.
Yes.
So the more feedback I get, the more they don't like it, and to understand why you don't like it and what you don't like and how would you like it to have it done.
Yes.
So you have to ask all those questions instead of, did you like Green Habit? Okay, nice, great, and then go further because you didn't learn anything. But you have to go, okay, why did you dropped off in week 8? What happened? And what did you need on that moment? A phone call or a nudge or a challenge or a reward? So
Very interesting. Great. Okay. So everybody, I think we're going to call it a day. Thank you so much for attending, and keep an eye out for an email with the details of the slides and our contact details. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
thank you so
Bye. Bye. Oh, that's actually movement. Okay.
There's still 2 ones.
Okay. Yeah, Rocher is on. I don't know who this is, so I'm gonna. Oh, it might be Rocher also. Okay, great.